Well, all of a sudden it's been a busy few days, including some Halloween decorations. Well, I know it's a little early, but I have a wife and two daughters, so I get outvoted on everything 3-1. So enjoy the decorations while we talk about an article I enjoyed very much from Tim Keown of ESPN. And real quick, if you didn't get a chance, I did a long, hour-long conversation with Hal Gordon, Alex Espinosa on the Ricky Pod. It's on YouTube. It's on podcast apps everywhere. Go ahead and check it out. But a few things really jumped out to me about Tim Keown's conversation with John Fisher. Most notably, he really seemed hesitant to answer any questions about whether or not owners were going to waive a relocation fee. He threw his own soccer franchise, the Earthquakes, under the bus, saying their stadium wasn't good enough. And he complained about the price of draft picks because the A's have tanked, so now they're getting high picks and they have to pay those high picks more money in signing bonus. Really quite an interesting conversation. But let's jump into some quotes and then I'll provide some quick, honest reaction to them in case you didn't have time to watch our whole 45-minute conversation with Tim Keown, who again had just interviewed A's owner John Fisher. So let's jump in. Asked if he expects pushback from the owners on the relocation fee, Fisher says, "That's something that the commissioner and the owners," here he stops to gather himself, "it's out of my hands. It's something for them to work out." Now that's a very telling quote, because it's pretty apparent that without a waived relocation fee, this deal doesn't pencil out for John Fisher. But keep in mind, a relocation fee would have been split evenly amongst the owners, and that is a sizable chunk of change. You're also taking Las Vegas out of the expansion market, which again, a $2 billion expansion fee is a lot of money that MLB owners would have been able to split up. This is all to keep an owner who has been siphoning revenue sharing money from all these owners out of Oakland and put him in Las Vegas, a market where he will again stay on that revenue sharing. Among the costs Fisher repeatedly raised was the amount the team had to pay out for draft picks in July, a figure directly attributable to slashing payroll and talent after 2021 and fielding a team of young, cheap players, many of whom would be better served by more time in the minor leagues. Quote, "We ended up with a much higher draft pick," Fisher says, "and you know it's an opportunity, but it's an expensive opportunity to sign high draft picks." Boo-hoo, we have to sign our high draft picks and we're drafting so high because we slashed our payroll and we're one of the worst teams in baseball. Woe is me. If you notice something here, all of the A's wounds, everything they complain about, attendance, lack of revenue, signing high draft picks, these are all self-inflicted wounds. Why do the A's have no fans? Why is interest down? Well, you raised prices. You slashed your roster. Why aren't people talking about the A's? Why aren't we gaining a foothold in the market? Well, you don't have a radio station. You walked out and kicked them on the way out the door. You have an echo chamber right now. Pretty much all of your information is being disseminated by A's Cast and A's Pre and Post, which are great, awesome things, but they only reach diehard fans. They don't reach the rest of the Bay Area. You already have those fans. You need to find a way to amplify your message. Again, one of the many reasons why the A's issues are all self-inflicted wounds. We are spending over $1 billion to bring a winner to Las Vegas, Fisher says, and as I have said, I wouldn't be in this if my goal wasn't to go out and win a World Series. Really? You're just going to move to Vegas and all of a sudden everything you've done since 2005 is going to change. That's a pretty long track record of doing the absolute bare minimum. But a new stadium that you're going to have to cough up a bunch of money for all of a sudden is going to free up a bunch of payroll? Sure, there will be great revenue streams in Las Vegas. Maybe it'll work. But to suggest that you're just going to change everything about how you've been running this organization for several decades, all of a sudden, just because you're in a new place, doesn't add up. And Tim Keown wisely points out the Earthquakes are an example. Now, I agree, it's an apples to oranges example. It's Major League Baseball, it's MLS, it's not the same thing. Revenue streams are completely different in both those sports. Whole different ballgame, literally. But the Earthquakes example is interesting because they got their new stadium, but they haven't done anything really with the franchise since. And he's already complaining about his 8-year-old PayPal Park. And according to Fisher, the 8-year-old PayPal Stadium in San Jose is already outdated compared to newer MLS stadiums and lacks the capacity and premium seating that drives the kind of revenue needed to compete for championships. Well, guess what? You built the stadium the way you wanted it built. That's up to you entirely. If you cut corners, if you didn't spend enough, if you didn't make it as modern as you possibly could just 8 years ago, and now it's already outdated, that's on you. All right? And now look out, San Jose. Look out, San Jose Earthquakes fans. He's already planting the seeds for what he's going to do next. Does he need help with a new stadium, new upgrades, tax money from the city? Or is he going to move the team like he's doing with the A's? This is just a joke. An 8-year-old stadium, not good enough already to support your soccer franchise? Again, self-inflicted wounds. Tim Keown points out, in a league where 18 of the 29 teams make the playoffs, the Earthquakes have not won a postseason game since 2012 and have qualified for the playoffs just twice since the stadium opened. Again, just because he gets what he wants doesn't mean he's going to change his ways and actually produce a winning team. Look out, San Jose. Look out, Las Vegas in particular. And I'll leave you with one last quote because it really jumps out to me. It's a similar thing that he said. It almost seems like prepared statements is what Tim said in our interview. That it seemed like he was a little bit scripted at times. And this is one that I heard previously in the softball interview with the Nevada newspaper, another softball interview with local TV. He wasn't going to get a softball interview with Tim Keown on ESPN.com. So he got all warmed up, and then he did this one last final interview. Here's what he said. I got into baseball because I was a fan, and I loved the game, and I always thought the A's had this incredible history to them. As I told somebody the other day, I don't really feel like I'm an owner, because I think with baseball teams and other sports teams, you're really a kind of caretaker for creating a legacy of additional history for your club. And that's what I hope to create for us in Las Vegas. Wow. Well done. Stuck to the script. Great job there. Oh, look. It's obvious that everything that you're doing is for money, for greed, not for the love of baseball. As a Bay Area guy, a caretaker of a franchise would be somebody that did things for the community, for the better good of the Bay Area, keeping the A's in Oakland, not ripping them out of the market. You saw what happened when the Giants were threatening a move to St. Petersburg. You stepped up and helped keep them here. You're a Giants fan. You're not an A's fan. You're not a fan of baseball. You don't love the game. You love money and greed, and you're going to flip the team as soon as you get the opportunity. So don't give me that. And if you want to talk about it, I'm right here. But Tim Keown did a great job doing this interview. Really great write-up. You can watch our full conversation, me and Tim, just the other day. 45 minutes, we went deep on everything that happened between the A's and Oakland. He did a beautiful job recounting it and getting some nice quotes out of John Fisher. So, what happens next? Owners trying to approve relocation, an MLB application that's been filed that is basically incomplete, has no actual information in it. How are they going to process that? Will the relocation fee be waived? What happens next in Vegas? Plenty more to come right here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me grow the channel. I don't say that often, but come on.